What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Ripple Effect with Soria. I'm your host, Armando, and just want to start off the show by saying that if you've been tuning in, or even if you haven't, if you find a little bit of value in what you listen to, what you hear here with us on the show, we'd appreciate a share, maybe a follow. Today, I'm very excited to have Andrew with Pillar to Post Home Inspections. Andrew, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
excited to be here.
It's a pleasure. And so Andrew is, as I mentioned, he's with Pillar to Post Home Inspections, and he has been busy. Andrew, how long have you guys been active now? It's been a couple years, yeah?
August 5th was 3 years.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. We've worked together on a couple things in the past and been getting to know each other both personally and professionally. And it's exciting, man. So welcome to Mag One Media, and yeah, let's just get right into it, man. So for those of us who don't necessarily know you or Pillar to Post, why don't you just start off with a little introduction?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm Andrew with Pillar to Post Home Inspectors. Essentially, if you're going to buy a home, agent or a client will call me, we'll come in and we're going to inspect the home, make sure you're comfortable moving forward with the purchase. I like to say we ensure confident home ownership, anything is a big purchase in your life. You want to know what's going on with it, what works, what doesn't, any possible upgrades needed. That meme is explain what you do badly. Yeah. I like to joke around and say, I'm going to tell you everything wrong with the biggest purchase you'll make in your life.
Ouch. But you know what? That's crucial, right? Like you said, it's one of the biggest investments of your, potentially your life. And so you absolutely need to know what you're getting yourself into. So Pillar to Post. So you guys are a franchise, correct?
Yeah, we're a franchise. Me and my partner, Paige, we were up in Sacramento a few years back. We would buy some distressed properties, gut it down to the studs, fix it up, sell it, keep it for rental income, whatever we were doing. And essentially, that's how we got introduced to the company. Bob up there in Sacramento, him and his son would come inspect the homes that we did, and we started looking into it. And then, the whole shutdown, COVID happened when we were about to launch. So it kind of set us back a little bit, but, got through it. And, here we are 3 years later, and everyone's keeping us busy. It's great.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's cool. So you were a customer first, and then, that's pretty cool. So you knew the inner workings before you knew the inner workings.
Yep.
That's awesome. So let me ask, so you were flipping houses, sounds like, up in Sacramento. What was your background, that kind of, sparked that interest? I mean, it seems like, you're kind of falling down that trajectory of, flipping houses, now home inspections. So there's some sort of construction background, or how'd you get in here?
Yeah, so exactly right. Family construction company. My father, general contractor for 43-ish some years around there, before he ended up retiring. I, kind of didn't exactly know what I wanted to do back then. So kind of traveled the world for a while. Wow. Came back to Sacramento and then started getting back into some of the remodel construction stuff. And then figured home inspection is going to save my back in the long run, So, I just still applied what I knew. And just keep it moving. Nice, man.
Traveling the world. So how long were you traveling?
Traveled for a few years, traveled around the Caribbean, went up to Canada for a bit, down to Australia, New Zealand, South Pacific.
Nice.
And, then I'm like, I know more about the rest of the world than I do my own country. And so I started traveling the U.S. a little bit, ended up in New Orleans for a while. And,
nice.
Had to eventually, California, it always pulls you back.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. It brought us back home too, for sure. Oh man, that's cool. And so the traveling, that was just an itch that you guys needed to scratch, or was that, part of the plans for you guys?
So, I was a younger kid, didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life as, everybody that age. Yeah. Like I said, graduated high school. I was kind of like just messing around, not doing anything, not taking anything serious.
Right.
my sister was playing professional volleyball
Oh, wow.
down in for Puerto Rico, and she's like, "Oh, come down, hang out with me, and I'll pay for your plane ticket." And I'm like,
Nice.
"Let's go,
Let's do it." Yeah.
Then so I just had fun. Kind of bartended. It's universal. You can kind of do it wherever.
Yeah.
Pretty good money. Social aspect of it. You're, having a good time, and just move to the next city and do it again, meet everybody and have fun. And
Nice.
so, yeah, I mean, that's learned a lot. Love traveling and still do it to this day, just not necessarily living overseas. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, welcome back. No, that's good, man. I'm glad you found your way back home, and I'm sure a lot of your clients are as well. So you opened up with Paige and hit the ground running. It seems like I mean, I see you guys everywhere, man, and that's really awesome. And just to brag on you guys a little bit, I seen that you guys recently won some sort of award, right?
Yeah, I won a few awards, with the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
We just had our brand conference earlier this year. Ended up second year highest sales, growth, and
Awesome.
I think like one more I can't think of off the top of my head, but it was kind of surprised everybody. We show up, and then everyone's like, "Oh, congratulations!" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're just like, "Your awards, you're on the wall," and I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay."
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take that. Right.
Yeah.
Man, so as a newer, and I say newer, we've been in business more or less around the same amount of time, sounds like. What has been, share some of the key factors that have really played a role in the success that you have had in such a short time?
I first of all, I got to say shout out to Paige. She's definitely
shout out to Paige.
Paige, my partner. She's handles the back end. Does everything while I'm out in the field. Definitely couldn't be here without her. But essentially, I equate it to we're still kind of a customer service base business.
Yes.
We're the clients are trying to explain how a home works. Sometimes they're first time home buyers. They've rented.
Mm-hmm.
They had a landlord that they dealt with that would fix everything or not, according to or depending where you lived. And so, some people don't even realize you got to change your air filter on your furnace.
Right.
And so we just kind of give useful information in that regards and try to give as much information as possible at the same time. So
no, that's awesome, man. It's a shame that the art of customer service is diminishing a little bit. I don't know what it's attributed to, but what I can say is that from interacting with different businesses and doing all the things that we're involved with, it really seems like those that are standouts in their industries and their sectors are the ones that still lean heavily on that old customer service, right? What has what keeps you guys on that? Was it a bad experience somewhere else? Was it empathy for your customers? I mean, it seems like you're customer service driven. So I just want to kind of drive that in a little bit.
Customers service for the clients. Just like you said, you want to, they're nervous. It's a big experience, right? Try to ease a lot of that tension down. Whether you buy a brand new home still have some issues. If the home is 70 years old or built in the 70s, certain standards don't transfer over to what today's standards are,
right.
Like missing GFCI protection.
Yeah.
You just try to explain, yes, it is a vital safety thing, but it's easy as swapping out an outlet. Any electrician is going to take them a couple minutes to do it. A couple minutes per location needed, bathrooms, kitchens, whatnot. And I just explained to it, yes, it's straightforward. We don't really need any structural engineers coming in to tear the house apart to figure out a problem we don't know. And so I just try to relay it, say this is all typical, common for the age.
It's a lot of educating,
Exactly.
Service through education.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And what I really like about you guys too is I've seen your reports that you produce, and two things that always come up whenever I come across them is, number one, how quick you're able to turn those reports around for people. And I know working with real estate professionals, that's that's a critical component. And then also the thoroughness of your reports. That that I guess that's what led me to start with asking about your construction background, just because I mean I see your social media, you're underneath houses, you're on roofs. I mean, you guys are literally inspecting top to bottom, right?
Top to bottom, up on the roof, in the attic, living space, outside, crawl space. We check it all. And just like you said, essentially, the construction background definitely plays a part, and to be able to transfer that knowledge to somebody that doesn't have the same knowledge that we do is crucial. And just trying to break it down, lowest common denominator. If there's dry rot, you got to cut it out, replace it with good wood. If there's termites, that's very common for our area. We have all the insects you don't really want in our area. Right. So it's just like, just breaking it down, where somebody from the East Coast that's never had to deal with termites, just break it down and explain it to them. Just simplest common denominator. Keep it simple. Stupid, isn't that how that goes, man. Or whatever? That's
it, kids, right? Man, that's cool. So another highlight from you guys, and I know Paige is heavily involved with this side of it, but if you could touch on it, is it seems like, when it comes to your marketing, it's very strong. I picked up on that the minute that I see you guys stepped on the scene. It seems like you align yourselves with the right people. You're involved with those organizations like Monterey County Association of Realtors, and just involved with the community, and getting out and having fun with it. You want to touch on some of your marketing?
Yeah, so marketing, obviously, if you follow us on Instagram, we try to do very informational videos as well. Marketing in the community, we are a part of the community. We want to definitely give back. Last year we hosted the Pachetti Dog Park.
That's right.
Event that to help raise money. We still volunteer there. You can see me and my daughter take our dog there almost,
nice.
4 or 5 times a week. We're there, needing help, replacing poop bags, keeping up with maintenance, things like that. We just went in with the LLS board like you're talking about, and I don't know if I'm supposed to break it, but Paige is on the visionary council, or what?
Paige has been has volunteered to join us on the leadership team for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So that's awesome. And I saw your her involvement, your guys' involvement with that last year as you were supporting one of the candidates. And so between that and the dog park, it's pretty cool seeing that you're actively pursuing that philanthropy aspect of community as well.
And, I got to give you a shout out too. You definitely helped us, steer us in the right direction. Sometimes we just, spitball ideas, Paige is on the phone talking with you, and just like, do it.
Well, I think that's what it's about, right? Is we have the privilege to know each other and to have each other in our circles, right? And it goes back to what this whole thing's about to me, and that's aligning with you're the right similar minded people or like minded people and your associations, and you level each other up. And I mean, you could touch on that.
Was it rising tides raise all ships? Everybody in the community. I know some people, they're like, if you do charity, you shouldn't talk about it, you just do it. I'm under a different mindset where if you're a business in the community, it's your responsibility to put that first and foremost, to show other businesses, to get other businesses involved, to just get people involved. You want to put that out there, and, not like, hey, look at me, I'm doing good work. It's just a part of a responsibility, I feel like.
Yeah. And that right there resonates deeply with me. I think I've shared it before on another episode. And I mean, really, I think I talk about it all the time with friends and whatnot. And I truly do believe that it is, and, not to put anyone out or tell anyone how to run their businesses, but I do feel that we have a responsibility to our communities as entrepreneurs. And that seems to resonate with you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. We drive around in branded vehicles.
Right.
I mean, our vehicle is the billboard to the community, and just to be associated with all these things is good. And we're not trying to do it to be like, hey, buy from me, I'm supporting the community. It's just, we purely want to give back. And I know you're the same way. We've had this kind of conversation, and it's just kind of the way I kind of look at it is somewhat repaying favors people did me, paying it forward type, so to speak, just trying to get back as
Absolutely.
much as I
I
can.
mean, if without our community, we don't have anything, right? And it's so circular. I can't recall, but
Both sound good.
there you go. Both sound good. Dropping some big words, but it's true. It's without the intention or without that being the why, right? Giving back. I want to be successful so I could give back, but at the same time, in return, you're creating brand awareness. You're creating fans out of your clients, and then in turn you get the referrals, and it comes right back, right? So it's amazing how it works, and it feels damn good, quite honestly.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of to touch back on one of the other questions you asked previous, I'll get phone calls from inspections I did 2+ years ago, and it's I was able to resonate with that client, and they have questions, and it's like, hey, I've got this contractor telling me I need to do this. I don't really trust them. Can you come out, take a look? And yeah, no problem. Obviously, I'm supposed to be representing you, and I understand, just because it was transactional one time doesn't mean we don't have a relationship and I tell people all the time, call me, ask me, text me, shoot me a text, an email, video. I love it when clients follow up with me, whether I find some structural issue, and then they're like, hey, just so you know, here's some photos, here's some videos of how it went and worked out and this. And I love hearing that, seeing that, getting feedback, months down the road, and just making sure that, if they trust me enough to, again, with one of the biggest purchases of their life, I'm involved.
That's awesome. And as it should be, right? Or do you have a system to follow up or to kind of maintain those relationships with your clients? I mean, and we could get into, I know that's a big broad question, because you have, the realtors are your clients, the homeowners, the buyers are your clients, possibly the sellers are your clients. I mean, so you have a lot of different customers or clientele that's involved here, but why don't you share a little bit about how you maintain those relationships after the transaction? Because I think that's a big part of customer service that's missed from other business owners.
Yeah, definitely. And I was actually, I don't remember if I was listening to a podcast, reading a book, and to go off topic a little bit of your conversation, one thing that really stood out to me was this guy had an HVAC company in Arizona, and he was having some like ant problems. And so what did he do? He goes on Google, and he ends up, getting a local pest company to come take care of it. And then a year, 2 years later, same thing. He's having another issue. He's like, that company didn't follow up with me, touch base or anything down the road. So did I use that company again? He's like, I can't tell you. I'm not pulling a receipt from 2 years ago, And so that always resonated with me. And so going back, we do touch base with the realtor, hey, how did that transaction go? Paige gives a call, 2-3 weeks later, everything worked out. We want to hear bad feedback if there is any. What can we do on our end to make the process better? It's one of those things, if we don't know, we can't learn, we can't grow. And so as far as, other clients, sellers, buyers, again, I'm in the community. I drive a big branded truck around. I see people at the gas station. Hey, you inspected my house 2 years ago. Hey, yeah, great. Good to see you. Everything's going good. How's the kids? Whatnot. So I mean, they see me around, and my daughter's school, people that we work with, they have questions. They've reached out to me, and whether they want to spitball something, they are having a mold issue, and testing or whatnot. And obviously, I'm gonna say, hey, talk to Armando. He's the best. Just being involved in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I always preach that to my team. It's a small town. It's a small community for one thing, but this could be, obviously translated to bigger demographics and whatnot. But I mean, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder, right? When you're at a grocery store. So the best thing you could do is just deliver that outstanding service and maintaining that relationship, following up. All that's going to do is generate more referrals. And the intention behind that was never to get referral. It was just to provide that good service. But again, givers gain kind of thing, right?
Givers gain. You know, I always tell my guys, inspect the home like your mom's about to move in, because somebody's mom is going to be moving in, daughter, son, whoever. You know, a home is a foundation of family. Essentially, you grow up in a home, you know, kids, whether you got the grandkids coming in, you're retired, you know, you want your forever dream home. It doesn't matter the situation, but a home is a big part of anyone's life, and just providing, you know, confidence to move forward with a purchase, or no, maybe we should look for something else. We can't negotiate. We can't come to an understanding. Yeah. You know, it all plays hand in hand. So you don't want somebody to move into a house and 6 months down the road, like, this thing is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? You know, so we just try to provide a very honest condition of the structure, because you're in your home majority of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as far as your company goes now, you know, how are, I guess, as far as your growth that you have experience since going into business currently, do you guys have a couple different inspectors? Is it, you know, still just you in the field? How's that look for you guys?
So we've got I'm still in the field. Paige, like I said, handles the back end. You know, I'm starting to get in the office a little bit more to get systems and processes in place that I need, that I've kind of neglected when it was just me in the field. But now we do have other guys. We just hired our first Spanish speaker.
There you go.
So, you know, that's going to be big.
El bilingual, man.
Yep, we're excited for that. You know, he's going to be in the field with me shortly. He's doing some online things with corporate right now, and he'll be out there and inspect in no time, get him ramped up, and just always continue to grow. And you know, if you don't do the things you need to grow, you're going to not grow.
I tell you, man, right now, if I have been focused on anything, it has been process and systems. And I think that's a very relatable deal with owner operators, right? Is we get busy. So what do, man? We jump in the trenches.
Yeah. And it essentially doesn't necessarily help anybody, you know, if you're in the truck the whole time, so to speak. Yeah. If you can't get the systems and processes in place for your team, I mean, I feel like whatever your team sees should be 80% systematized, maybe 80, 90% systematized. And there's always going to be that 10, 20% where you're going to look at it and be like, what the heck is going on? Right. And then you got to figure it out accordingly. But if you have all those in place, then it just makes everybody's job easier to move forward. Everyone understands how to move forward. But let me ask you, though, what are you doing lately to get those systems and processes in place?
Oh, man. So that's that I asked myself, and you know, I'm of course doing the best I can to continue to educate myself and grow and surround myself with people that could help me grow. So I'm part of some masterminds and things of that nature. And somewhere along the line, I believe it was one of my mentors, asked or posed the question that if you were to get hit by a truck, right, what happens to your business? Right. And because I am an owner operator, and not only that, but I'm also what's the word? Integrator. So I love being in the field. I love being asses and elbows with my team. You know what I mean? It's that camaraderie, that bond. I'm building that culture. So to step away from that has been an extremely difficult task for me. But at the same time, as you said, I also recognize the importance of stepping out of that role, because essentially you're going to hit a limit. Like your growth is going to be limited by that. Right. And so I've stepped a little bit further back from that role and have been working diligently on the processes and systems. And so what I've done is I essentially reverse engineer everything. So I start with, you know, or maybe not reverse engineer it, but just look at each task and break it down into steps. And quite honestly, we've downloaded some apps. You know, we've introduced some software where we're able to create checklists for every task. And it sounds crazy, and like I'm a pro, but I'm not. I'm just in the midst of this transition. And you know, our bread and butter is water damage restoration, and secondly, it's mold remediation. So it's a checklist of how to load the truck, like really dumb it down, right? How to load the truck, what to put in there, that kind of thing. And then likewise, when you get to the job site, step one, take a picture of the front of the house. Step two, get the work authorization signed, perform inspection, outline the affected areas, create the plan, the scope of work, and all these different steps that are involved. And the way I see it was, or is that by me giving them all the tools, giving my team all the tools, it's going to help them progress in their careers and their growth. And it's also going to help me as the owner hold them accountable, because now there's written systems in place that they have to follow. And it's something that it's a balance. And the key thing that I could share with everyone is, and this is again learned through those masterminds and whatnot, and that's when developing these systems, I'm having constant communication with my team so that I could have their buy-in, so they're actually involved in the creation and implementation of these systems. And they're not perfect by any means. There's a lot of room for improvement. But what's cool is by having it written out and having these systems in place, we're then able to plug the holes in the buckets when we start, finding those 20%, 10% anomalies that come up in our day-to-day business. So that's kind of where we're at, kind of.
No, I'm with you 100%, and I need to be focused on that a lot more. I know it. I'm getting to the point where I can, and that's one of the things when I was talking with some of the higher up guys in pillar to post, the higher up as in large volume,
right.
They were saying, get your template dialed in, get this dialed in, get that dialed in. Like, you need to focus on that, especially when you're not too busy, because once you ramp up, you're going to be like, oh, I should have done it. And honestly, I should have been doing it.
You know what? And it's funny. I've talked to other people, other businesses that are solopreneurs, like a single owner operator kind of thing. And I'm talking to them and just in conversation, just like, hey man, so what are you working on? Oh, I'm working on process and systems. I mean, that right there, that's like the most unsexy term in business.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's you definitely understand.
Absolutely. And the thing is that I used to turn my nose up at that stuff, even when I was a top level management position for other employers. And, I kind of look at myself, or I reflect back and realize, like, man, I could have been a much better asset to my my supervisors, my owners, whatever, or the owners of the companies, had I really accepted how important those roles are. But again, starting as a production guy, starting with, being who I am in terms of just let's get in there and let's just rip this stuff out and let's just take care of business, handle this. Process and systems always went to the wayside until later on in life, where now I'm realizing how crucial it is, because having those in place will allow me to then step back away from, the field sort of thing and focus more on the growth and the vision, and also be able to better mentor and grow the team, through those systems and whatnot. So it's a crazy thing, man. It's just part of the evolution of business owners,
Yeah. And like I said, when I first started off, I didn't 100% understand like what those guys told me to do. And I was like, they said, get it in order.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what do I do? I don't know. And then I start ramping up. We start hiring, and I'm like, oh shit, this is what they meant. This is why. And one of the things, like when we call and get feedback, it's oh, this happened, that happened. It's usually generally minor, but it's like, okay, now I can say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. Right. We're going to adapt and do it like this. Yep. And even something as small as they didn't like a little a little paint fell off when electrical panel got open, and it's like, my guy's got like a little broom and dustpan that can go in. Sure. But now all of a sudden, let's just go to Home Depot and get a quick little mini vac and make it even easier, right? So just little things like that. Make a mess, clean it up. This isn't your home. Yeah, you're just a guest. Take care of it. And absolutely, just little those small like actionable things, man. That's all it is. Just minor tweaks and whatnot. And just on that topic, and I think I said so much that I don't remember if I said this, but it's very important to note that these systems that we're developing and that you're developing, if you have to adjust, if you have to pivot,
you can't be afraid of that. I made a commitment as part of the buy-in with the team. Is I made this commitment to them that said, hey, every quarter we're going to review each of our systems, and if we have to change something because it's not working, like, let's just change it.
Yeah.
Right. Because A, has to work, and B, everyone has to be in line with that vision and have that buy-in. So I guess that's just kind of the word to the wise, or advice, if I can share it with anyone that's listening. It's just is don't be afraid to pivot. And I mean, and that's a very general thing, but it's real, man.
No, 100%. And those systems and processes, I mean, they're not like written in stone. They're written out, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a living organism. If something isn't working, you got to adapt and change. Whenever you hear like a company say, oh, let's get back to the basics.
Yeah.
They ended up steering away from what got them there, their original vision, and so they say, oh, let's get back to the basics. Yeah, they got to get back to those things.
Absolutely. And the fact that, I mean, I think for you, and just as I'm sitting here across the table from you, I mean, the fact that you're doing that now, I mean, that's just part of the evolution. Could you have done it back when you started? Sure. But that's normally not how it really works, because when you're first getting started, there's 3 things you need to worry about. It's get job, do job, build job.
Yep.
Right. But slowly as you progress, you start realizing all the different things that are in between get job and, how to get job, and then how to do job, and all, everything else that breaks in with that. But sounds to me like you're on the right track, and I'm really excited for you guys, because I know that once you put those in place and, you start implementing them in the field and bringing on more people, you start seeing how it becomes almost, it becomes, you're able to then provide the tools for your team to be successful and be quicker, like, to get them ready to be out on their own and perform their duties and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. I'm starting to see that on our side. And though there's always those tweaks, it's pretty exciting. We were talking about it the other day, that one of the most rewarding things of, being a leader to your team is when you watch them just handle business on their own and make decisions and just crush it. I mean, that's like the most rewarding part of this whole deal,
Definitely. Yeah. And like you said, backwards engineering, that's kind of how you get there. Like I said, I didn't understand how to do it to begin with. I, learned it later on, and, started looking inward for development, reading podcasts, watching videos, YouTube, whatnot.
Yeah.
I know, I've talked with you before about the conferences you go to, and, down the road, I'm hoping to join you guys at those.
Absolutely, man. The more the merrier.
And it's just, growth. It's natural. And if you just kind of stick in your ways of, because I said so, your team isn't going to understand why to do it. You really have to give them input and
absolutely
explain why we do them.
So as it comes to the personal development of Andrew, so was that, because you just touched on something cool there, and I just want to highlight it. So when you were when you went into business, did you already have that kind of growth mindset, or was that something that kind of came along as you progressed through your career?
It just kind of, honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm in business, and being part of a franchise, they do definitely help you. Like,
that's
hey,
cool.
These are some plans you should do.
Yeah,
definitely couldn't have done it probably as well as I did it without some sort of guidance. Just the same way those guys that put up numbers said, hey, take care of these things. I probably should ask more questions on like how do I do that? What exactly do I do? Can I just rip yours off? I should have probably done that.
right.
But I'm like, oh yeah, definitely makes sense. Sure, I got this. Just going through the humbling phase of, okay, let's start getting this in. Going through the beginning, didn't know what to do, and then it was just, hey, we got to get there. And I talked with you before about having a mentor, which is business coach, whatnot. And if somebody's like, oh, I know everything, they're full of shit. Michael Jordan, he had the go to basketball. He ended up having 4 coaches constantly. Coaches, they just help you improve. If you need to get another one, you get another one. Right. And I don't have a mentor coach yet. Definitely, I want one of the things on growth on my plan is I want to start touring some of these larger shops.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily within our franchise. Just seeing what I can do. If there's a electric company, plumbing company, whatever.
Yeah.
If they have systems in place, I want to kind of tour, ask them,
Yeah.
pick their brain. How do they go about it?
No, absolutely. And that hits home with me because I think I've shared this with you, I'm pretty sure, but I came from a franchise system, right?
Yeah.
So my career developed through one of my competitors who will remain nameless. No, just kidding. I came through a Serpro, and I had really good. The owners were great, and they took me under their wing, and they really took the time to train me up and whatnot. But what was cool is the higher up I got in those positions, the more I realized that they were basically following a process and system that Serpro Corporate had developed, and so that was pretty cool. And so I worked for that franchise for about, I think it was 11 or 12 years before I went off on my own. And essentially, though I wasn't as heavily focused on those systems, I didn't realize that a lot of what I was doing was process driven because of all the training I had from a franchise. Of course, in our own independent way, but I also appreciate, when people ask all the time, franchise or independent. Truthfully is depending on where you are with your experience level and so forth and so on, and depending on your market and what type of industry you're getting in, there's so many pros to franchises because they offer that type of mentorship. Like I went for the first 10 months of, on my own with zero idea of personal development, like no idea that this stuff even existed.
Yeah.
Right. And somehow I stumbled upon a consultant who he's obviously trying to get me to sign up with them. But the information that he had was of value, and I took the risk. I've invested in myself, and I hired a coach 9 months into business. So like you, I started off, again, get job, do job, no job. Right. And
that's what it was at first. Yeah. Literally I launched the business in the middle of COVID, and, Paige, she was up in Sacramento still wrapping up what she needed to do at her job. And I needed to get this off the ground to get her to be able to move down, essentially. And so I'm launched in the middle of COVID. We're halfway still on lockdown. How am I supposed to go about this? Because so what I did, I picked up the phone and just cold called agents. Just, hi, I want to introduce myself. Yeah. I had some great conversations, still working with a lot of those agents today. They're excited, and, some of them wanted to know. They'd keep me on the phone for like 30 minutes just talking. Give me your background. What's your story? Like, nice. Talk to me. Yeah. And then, of course, you got the ones that are just like, okay, yeah, thanks. I'll give you a call sometime later, Right. Just kind of a blow off and everything in between. But that was essentially how I had to get it started. And then once we were able to get Paige down here, she got more hands-on marketing, was able to do the Instagram and the online stuff, join, certain organizations, Monterey County Association of Realtors, Women's Council, Santa Cruz, San Benito, nice. We're kind of very got fingers in everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Why don't you share with us how folks could get a hold of you and could find you guys should they need a friendly neighborhood home inspector?
Friendly neighborhood home inspector. Yeah. Essentially, just give us a call, 831-884-6160. If I don't answer, Paige is going to be answering. Shoot us an email, text, whatnot. You can Google us, find us on there online, and we're always available.
Yeah, man. Well, before we sign off here, I just want to ask if you know the recipe to those Jell-O shots that you guys take to all your events, because those things are a hit, man. I'm gonna say this here I think I had the blue one, the green one,
the red one,
the purple. That's oh man! Shout out to Paige, man. I'm looking forward to having her on as well and pick her brain about some of the marketing side, because I think you guys really work well off each other, and I'm excited to see your growth, because I know that you guys are already crushing it, and what's coming up next for you guys is going to be baller. It's going to be awesome to watch. So. Thanks for coming on, bud. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And shout out to Mag One Studios.
Mag One. Thanks, guys.